Happy New Year, everyone. It's me, your boy Ryan, aka Clutch Sports Talk, with another live edition of Clutch Sports Talk. Hope you guys had a safe and happy, healthy holiday. 2020 is in the past. 2021 is in the windshield here. We're jamming straight through it, man. So I am back. I hope you guys had a great time. It's been exciting. A lot of stuff been going on. So other than that, man, without further ado, let's get with it. Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Clutch Sports Live with Ryan Flowers is presented by All Pro Digital Sports, the future in sports media content. Let's go. Welcome in, man. It's Monday. It's me. I'm back. Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, in the building, man. I've had about 2 weeks off, man. I've just been enjoying my time off. A lot of sports to get caught up into, man. We got a lot of topics from college football, NFL playoffs. We got NBA. And at the end of the show, I'm going to talk a little bit about baseball, something that I haven't really talked about a lot, but some things have transpired. So I want to touch base with all that. But other than that, man, before I start today's show, man, I just want to kind of do my little 2021 type of resolutions. I don't really have anything I'm like gonna give up or try to do more that I haven't already been trying to do. But I'll just say this about 2020. It was a very tumultuous type of year for a lot of people. And I appreciate everyone that's in the live right now. Make sure you drop a comment. Appreciate you guys, and share if you're right now on Facebook Live, share. But 2020 was a rough year for a lot of folks. A lot of people, we had, obviously we had COVID that kicked off. We had, police brutality type and stuff that was going on, race relations in this country. We have politics, the presidential elections that's kind of still going on. And we're just really divided in 2020. I mean, I'm 37 years old. I cannot recall such a very stressful kind of, what do I want to say? Not a stressful, but very commandeering type of year. And 2020 definitely was that type of year. And hopefully everyone got through. I know, some people, money situations, sickness, everything, it hit everyone. It definitely was a hard year. But I'm glad that everyone, if you're in the live, if you're watching my show, I appreciate everyone because all of this started out of COVID for me. I remember watching and sitting, watching the NFL draft back in April of 2020. And I just said, you know what, man, like there's a lot of stuff out there. People don't know the information about certain things. I said, let me start a podcast. So it started as audio. That was back in late March, early April. And then I did my audio thing for quite some time. And then, it kind of flourished into me just recording stuff. And then now here I am live with you guys and continuing to grow. I got a lot to look forward to in 2021. And as should you, you got to forget what happened in the past. Don't forget it all completely. Remember some of that stuff, especially if there was some hard times, some negative times. Those are the things that will help build you and keep you going and driving for success. So that's my hope. That's my resolutions to everyone, for myself, for you, anyone that needs to hear that message that, if 2020 really whooped your butt, it's okay. It's about how you react to it. And now you got 2021 here. Doesn't mean all the bad stuff may stop happening, but you kind of got to turn that new leaf. But other than that, man, appreciate everyone that's in the show. Happy New Year to everyone. Make sure if you're in the live right now, make sure you like, you comment, share with all your friends about me, Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. I appreciate everyone. Make sure you guys hit me up on pretty much all social media platforms. I'm on Twitter. You see the ticker down there on the bottom. You can hit me at Clutch _talk at Twitter, clutch.sports.talk. Instagram, and search me on YouTube at Clutch Sports Talk as well. On the All Pro Digital YouTube page, you can hit me up there as well. But lots to get into, so I'll keep that information down there for you guys so you guys can check that out. Appreciate everyone that's in the room right now. So college football getting ready to wrap up next Monday, I believe, the 11th. So the Final Four was just played on New Year's Day. Pretty interesting as far as the late game. The first game, not so much. Alabama, Notre Dame, we kind of pretty much all expected that result. I will say Notre Dame kind of kept it close. They did cover. I believe they were 19.5 point underdogs. They covered, so good for me. Ended up winning some money on that. So thank you, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. But we all knew that they were going to lose. Alabama, on the other hand, they look like the real deal. I'm going to touch base on them here in just a second. The other game I want to kind of talk about, Clemson and Ohio State. Now, Clemson was the favorite. I think they were like a 7-dog or touchdown favorite. Obviously, the headline from that game was what Dabo Swinney had mentioned, his comments about Ohio State not being basically in the top 10. They shouldn't even have been in the playoff. They only played 6 games. Blase, blah, whatever. I think he had them ranked behind Coastal Carolina, who ended up losing to Liberty in some bowl. I don't know, the Sega Genesis Bowl in, I don't know, Biloxi, Mississippi. I don't know. But anyway, so when Dabo Swinney made that comment, a lot of people, it turned some eyes, it turned some heads. I kind of was like, I guess it shouldn't matter that much, but I got to give my props. I got to eat crow. I thought Ohio State was going to get obliterated. They didn't. They came out, they won the game, man. They looked really, really, really good. And they kind of pretty much dismantled Clemson. And I thought Clemson was a lot better than that. Their defense didn't really look athletic. Their corners could not cover. Their defensive front was not really that great either. Ohio State just looked better overall. I mean, and of course, Justin Fields. We got to talk about him for just a second. I mean, he really took that to heart. Obviously, he lost to them last year in kind of a painful way, throwing an interception last year in the Fiesta Bowl, ending that game. And then, all year he's hearing, Trevor Lawrence will go number 1, Trevor Lawrence. He's like, wait, I'm a good quarterback too. Y'all don't even invite me to the Heisman. Like, get out of here. He came out and balled out. I think the dude threw like 5-6 touchdowns, over 400 yards. Not to say Trevor Lawrence didn't look bad, but to Ohio State's credit too, or even Clemson's credit, their offensive coordinator was not able to be there. Their offensive assistant, he was not allowed to be there, I guess, due to COVID protocols, things of that nature. And I get it. They still got to go out and play the game, which they did. So I'm not taking anything from Ohio State, but Justin Fields looked really good. But here's the thing about Justin Fields, before everyone gets on this hype train, now he should go number 1, blah, blah, blah. You have to look at the whole body of work. Now, Justin Fields is a tremendous talent. I still think Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 pick. I don't think that game really changed a lot of the scouts' minds, really, other than the fact that maybe he got some brownie points for showing that toughness. The big knock on him was, can he make some of these types of throws? And he did. He did that. So shout out to Ohio State. Now, Ohio State definitely has a huge challenge up ahead of them. I mean, they haven't seen a team like this. Alabama has got tremendous talent, and the biggest talent of all, and a guy who I think will win the Heisman, is Devon Smith, the wide receiver from Alabama. Now, all the quarterbacks were getting all the talk, and I know the Heisman voting was already completed prior to what had happened this past New Year's Day when Alabama played Notre Dame. But the fact of the matter is, Devon Smith is legit. Now, the other quarterbacks that got invited, I think it was Kyle Trask, Trevor Lawrence. There was a few other players I off the top of my head I forget, but Smith should probably end up winning the Heisman. But Alabama, man, the thing with Alabama is that the quarterback doesn't really wow you like that, Mac Jones, but they're just so physical and dominant, and they got skill players everywhere you look, man, from wide receivers to defensive ends, anywhere you look, cornerback. So Ohio State's definitely going to have a big challenge playing this game next week. Now, I'm not going to say, they're going to get blown out, because I said that already before, and it really didn't work out in my favor. So drop a comment, see what you guys think about that. You think Alabama's going to win? If so, are they going to roll them up? Whatever. Let me know what's going on in the comments. But that's pretty much it. I think this game will be played. Alabama will just be too good. I don't think anyone has a matchup or an answer for Smith and the running game. Najee Harris, this is probably more than likely his last game there in Alabama, the outstanding running back from Alabama. So Alabama is going to win this game. But Ohio State really kind of put a lot of naysayers to bed, including myself. So I'm not going to disrespect them. I'm not going to say they're going to get blown out. I think the game could be close, because I think they have the firepower to do so. But other than that, I think Alabama will roll. So roll tide on that one. Let me know what you guys think on that one. All right. So NFL Week 17, regular season's over. Unfortunately, Cowboys did not make the playoffs again, and it's very disappointing as a Cowboys fan. But hey, I'm used to that. So other than that, some other disappointing outcomes for a lot of other teams. Teams that won 10 games didn't even make the playoffs, such as the Miami Dolphins. But the playoffs are set. The wild card starts, I believe, this Saturday. I believe at 1:00 Eastern, from NBC to Amazon Prime, and I think ABC. I don't know. You have to check your local TV listings, but the playoffs are here. So a lot of questions. I don't know, man. I think for the most part, some of these games are going to be pretty much easy to call here. Let me just pull up a schedule here of the playoffs here and kind of go through what the matchups are and kind of give you guys some insight of what I think is going to happen. So you got on Saturday the Colts and the Bills. Colts and Bills. That's the first game out the gate. The Colts are looking good. I get it. But I feel like the quarterback play. Oh, what happened there? So the quarterback play there to me is going to be the differentiating factor. Buffalo looks good, man. Buffalo looks really, really, really good. And I already getting some haters right now. He's saying Cowboys suck, but yes, we suck. I know that, but I don't need you guys telling me that. I know that. I lived it all my life. So, but back to the Bills again. The Bills, I mean, honestly, the Bills right now, the way they're playing, I think that they can actually really make a run and compete with the Kansas City Chiefs because from what we've seen with the Kansas City Chiefs lately, they have not played really well. I know they lost the other day, and that really means nothing because they really had nothing to play for, right? So, but you look at their last like 3 games, they haven't really been scoring the way they've been scoring. Patrick Mahomes, he's still doing kind of Patrick Mahomes type of things, but it's kind of like, well, something is wrong there. And they're not hitting on all cylinders. And and I've been saying this on my weekly shows and even my Sunday wrap-up games and even my preview shows on Sundays. They have been living off of let's turn it on. And I think, man, that catches up with you at some point. So I like the Bills in that matchup. The next game, Steelers and Browns, I like Steelers. Let's be real. The Browns made it. Great season. Kevin Stefanski, coach of the year. But you barely beat the Steelers, who did not play a lot of players. And you were at home. You only beat them by 2. And they didn't. Ben Roethlisberger didn't even start. Now it's full game on. Pittsburgh has had this team's number. I still don't trust Baker Mayfield. I'm going to take Steelers in this one pretty much. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory on that one. But the other game on Saturday, you got the Titans and Ravens. There's another wild card matchup. I like the Titans. I know a lot of people, especially the experts, they really like the Ravens now. They're doing well. They're playing good football. Lamar Jackson's doing his thing again. But you know what? Titans beat them already this year, and they're probably going to beat them again. They have the blueprint to beat them, if anything. They don't need a crazy pass rush against him. They just need to keep him in front, and they just need to make sure he doesn't run all over the place. They're going to force him to throw like they did in the last previous meetings that they played against Baltimore, and the game is in Tennessee this time. Now, the Ravens will have some extra motivation, obviously, because you've lost to this team twice now, basically in almost 2 years, in the same year, right? So, the Ravens are a good team. They're playing better football. They're healthier, but I think in the end of the day, will they have an answer for Derrick Henry? I don't really think so. The other wild card game, Saints and Bears. This one's pretty much a runaway. Saints should walk away from this one. Chicago Bears is at like they're not terrible, but their quarterback play isn't the greatest either. And the Saints are just a better team. There's no great analysis for that. I'm not going to sit here and give you numbers. I'm not that dude. I'm not going to sit here and say, points per average. Like, that's cool. I like analytics, but then I like my guy, Colin Cowherd, says manalytics. That's what I kind of like to look into. And really, Saints has got better players across the board. Even Drew Brees may not be the same guy, but he's still Drew Brees. He's better than Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, that's fair to say, right? Okay. All right. Seattle at home against the Rams. This one could be interesting. It just depends on Jared Goff. But actually, I kind of like what I saw with the Wofford guy, who got the start in place of Jared Goff, who had the surgery on his thumb, I believe. He kind of, was shaky a little bit. I think his first pass was an interception. Was it a pick six? I don't remember. But after that, man, he's a lot more athletic than Jared Goff. And I kind of feel like Jared Goff does not fit Sean McVay's offense. He's a prototypical drop back quarterback. And with Sean McVay's offense, if you watch any type of Rams football, the pocket moves, it's a lot of bootlegs, naked bootlegs. Your guy has to be able to move. And this Wofford guy came in and looked like the real deal. I was like, Wofford? So I had to remind myself. I remember watching this guy play when he was I think he was at Wake Forest, and he played Lamar Jackson, and he actually showed up Lamar Jackson, right? You're like, how did that happen? But yeah, go pull up the tape, man. So I still like Seattle. I think Seattle's pass rush is a lot better now. They know how to play the Rams. It's a divisional game, right? Again, so this is the third matchup here. Russell Wilson is really good in the playoffs. So, and for once that I can remember, the Seattle backfield is healthy. So I think Seattle will win this game easy on the road. Now, the Bucks and the Washington football team, this one is funny because obviously, congratulations to the Washington football team. You won the NFC least. And now you got guys like Chase Young. When do these guys understand? You don't go out calling for GOATs or legends in any sport. Chase Young was caught after the game last night in the victory against the Philadelphia Eagles saying he wants Tom. And well, okay, well, you're going to get him, because ask Jalen Ramsey how that had worked out for him. A few years ago, the Jags played the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Jalen Ramsey, there's that some like type of rally for the Jags before they go out to New England, calling out Tom Brady. He wants the Patriots. How'd that work out for you, bro? Didn't work out too well for you. So I will say this, Chase Young is a tremendous talent, but these guys, man, they always popping off at the mouth. I get it. Tom Brady is old. He's 43, 44. I don't know. He's in his 40s, and he's still slinging them, man. He looked really good with Antonio Brown. Now, we got to check the health on Mike Evans. I think he should be a go. I don't know for sure, but you can't be calling out these dudes. Just play the game. And I'm not a trash talker. By nature, I'm not a trash talker. I let the score do the talking. So for me, stuff like this, I may sound like an old school fuddy-duddy. I never believed in trash talk. I always believed in let your game do all the talking. You don't, if that has to pump you up, then I get it. So be it. But I don't need all that. Like just competing enough gets me ready to go. Like I'm juiced right now. I'm like, this is a live show, and I'm like not competing against anyone, but I'm ready to go right now. So I don't need that level of competition. So I guess Chase Young, just another young, dumb player who's a great talent, and he knows that. He wakes up in the morning. He knows, like, I'm Chase Young. I'm probably going to be defensive rookie of the year, right? So, but don't go after guys like Tom Brady, because he's that dude. He will not sleep. He's probably going to read the quotes. He's going to see what he did, and he's going to make sure he goes after Chase Young. So that's the wild card matchups, man. So other than that, the playoffs are set. We'll talk a little bit about next week, what happens. Really, I'm not going to change my mind on what I thought was going to happen. I think the Chiefs and the Bills will match up in the AFC Championship. I think 1 and 2 seed teams will be there. The interesting side is the NFC, because if the Saints beat the Bears, they're gonna play Green Bay, and this is an interesting matchup. You're like, why? The Saints are just better, right? The Saints are good, but for some reason, Green Bay actually probably lucks out if you really think about it. You're at home. It's going to be dead cold in Lambeau Field. Saints are a dome team. You got an old-ass quarterback. Excuse my language. You're going to be in the snow. Is Drew Brees really going to be equipped to handle that, to go up there? Are they going to be able to run the football the way they want to with Alvin Kamara? Is he that type of runner? I don't know. So I feel like it's kind of like a March Madness tournament. I think that in the end of the day, I'm going to go with Green Bay, man. I know a lot of Saints fans are not going to like to hear that, and I understand that, but I just got to be real. And I know Green Bay really hasn't played anybody, but that game against Tennessee a few Sunday nights ago kind of proved to me that I think that they can play tough football, especially in their climate, in their environment. And no one wants to go to Lambeau in late December, early January. You just don't. It's cold, man. I don't know if any one of you been there, or even in the Midwest. It sucks. And if you're a dome team like New Orleans, who's not used to playing in cold circumstances, it's going to blow, man. So I don't know. But I like the Packers. And then I still like the Seahawks. I don't trust the Buccaneers still, just because they haven't really beaten anybody either. So that's the playoff. Hopefully the wild cards do not disappoint. So if you're in the room, man, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you drop a like and leave a comment, man. Let me know what you guys think of the show. If you have any questions, comments, and concerns, or just let me know what your thoughts are. Am I off base? Am I wrong? I'll be sure to answer all your questions in the comment section below. All right, let's keep it moving, man. Shall we? So sticking in the NFL. So there's a lot of questions now and concerns with the offseason now. There's so many that I can talk about. Off the top of my head, the first thing that comes to mind is some of the teams that didn't make the playoffs. So for me, I'll start with Miami, right? They have a situation. Now, I think they have the third pick via Houston this year coming up in this draft. Tua did not look really good against the Bills in a game that really, really mattered. Now, a lot of people they still love Tua. They like him. It's not that I don't like the guy, but when you see him against some of these other type of more athletic, bigger quarterbacks, he just doesn't look the part. He threw 3 interceptions. I get it. It was against the Bills. He threw for over 300 yards, but you can't really look at that either. He doesn't push the ball down the field. And in the NFL, you have to. And you can't give me this crap about, well, he's a young quarterback. There's a young quarterbacks in this league today. And I'm going to keep saying this. Quarterback play is a lot different than it was 10, 15 years ago. And I know this firsthand because kids have a lot more access to more training, more resources from a youth level that it's different now. Guys can come into the league, man, and they already know. Like they already know how to play the game. Now, they probably have to learn the nuances of the team, of the NFL, but you could look at guys like Justin Herbert, you know, how he just was basically game 1 of the season, right? He's sitting there not expecting to even play, probably didn't even get really any reps with the first team that day. They have the whole fiasco with Tyrod Taylor getting some injections and it went through his lungs, yada, yada, yada. And like 2 minutes later, Anthony Lynn goes over and says, hey, you're going to start today. And he's like, what? And he goes in and he actually plays a pretty decent game, right? So what does that say? And the day of quarterbacks holding the clipboard and waiting, that's not the reality of society. And it's definitely not the reality in the NFL. It's what have you done for me lately? And we live in the now. And none of you can, disregard that because here, we live in the now today. You're always thinking, like, what now? When you look down at your social media feed, you're looking at now, who liked me? Who did this? Who followed me? Who did it? I mean, that's the NFL. And Tua, to me, the Dolphins are kind of like in a tough situation because, look, Tua has a really good defense. He has a great coaching behind him. Arguably, people can say, well, he needs more weapons. Okay, I get it. Okay, I understand. Devontae Parker maybe not be like the best number one. They don't really have like a legit running back. But Justin Herbert really, he has Hunter Henry and Keenan Allen. Okay, and Keenan Allen is always in and out of lineup. So, but out of the way, they have a really big choice, a decision to make. Do they take a quarterback? Will Justin Fields be there? Which I'm going to talk to you about that here in a second. Well, actually, I'll do that right now because in the same division, you got the Jets who are picking number 2. And they're in a very particular situation because what? You just fired the head coach. The GM's going to stay. Apparently, the owner, Woody Johnson, had been out of the country as some type of an ambassador for the U.S. So now he's going to be back. Is he going to be really more involved in the day-to-day operations? Is he going to be involved in the picking of the head coach, et cetera, et cetera? But do they take a quarterback? What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the Cowboys should the Jets actually take a quarterback? Because here's the thing, man, like me personally, and I've been on record saying it, I don't think we should. I really don't think that the Jets should be taking it. I don't think they need to take a quarterback. I think they have I think Sam Darnold has what it takes to make it in the NFL if you give him some more talent and a better protection. I feel like if you're picking number 2 and Devon Smith from Alabama is sitting there, you got to take him. Because really, in the last couple of years, have any of the Alabama wide receivers really disappointed? I know Ruggs really didn't do that much for the Raiders, which I was on record saying that he really wasn't going to do much because he's like a poor man's Tyreek Hill. He's like a Deshaun Jackson. Just takes you vertical. He looks pretty. He'll get you every now and then, but Smith can do everything. He can run, he can catch, he could, everything. So I'm part of the group that thinks the Jets probably should go on and actually just take, either trade the pick back or take a wide receiver. But I don't know. That's why the other team that comes to mind for me, the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I have to talk a little bit about them, So hopefully Cowboy Nation, it is what it is. First and foremost, they got to figure out the Dak situation. Now, I'm thinking they're going to probably franchise tag him because I don't think they really, really fully they're committed to him like that. They like him, as they should. But for him to get the money that he wants, I don't think Jerry Jones is that comfortable. Now, which is crazy to me because he's paid everybody else. If there's anyone you should have paid, was Dak Prescott. Zeke Elliott is half of a running back than what he used to be. He's getting paid $90 million. And he's not even the same dude. He's not even the same dude. So, but we've got a question here. We're looking at the same situation with Mark Sanchez back in the day. If he had better weapons, he would have progressed. Yeah, I mean, Mark Sanchez, he did have better weapons then, but he had the wrong coach with Rex Ryan. Defensive guy. They poured all their effort into defense, and Mark Sanchez just really never panned out, to be honest with you. I think Mark Sanchez should have taken Pete Carroll's advice and stayed one more year at USC. People forget Mark Sanchez was legit at USC. But back to the Cowboys. You paid Zeke, you paid Amari, you paid all these other guys that underperformed. All these guys, everyone from DeMarcus Lawrence, Jalen Smith, Amari Cooper, all these guys, they sucked. They really sucked this year. And now you got Zeke. Zeke to me is like Todd Gurley a few years ago. But Zeke is younger and doesn't have the health issues. I'm watching him yesterday in that game, and I'm like, he's tapping out. He's like, I got to come out. I'm just like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, we need you. You're if not the best player on the team right now. And the Cowboys thing, the other thing, they don't really have an identity, and then they extend Kellen Moore. I don't understand what that was about. He had opportunities to go be the head coach for Boise State. I'm watching the Cowboys yesterday, and I'm being very, objective here. It's like the Cowboys want to run the football. I get that. But honestly, that's not who you are. You look out. You got Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz, Blake Jarwin when he comes back. You need to throw the ball, man. You probably need to take a page out of the Kansas City playbook. I'm not saying Dak is Patrick Mahomes, but if you watch that game, you noticed yesterday, they were running the ball in the first half. Second half, they're like, oh, we can't really run. Let's throw. And guess what? They start putting points on the board. This is a passing league, folks. Now, not everyone could be the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry, kudos to him. I'm going to talk about him later. Not everyone can run the ball like that. Okay, I get that. In the NFL right now, you just have to be able to be somewhat decent at running the football. You don't have to run for 100 yards every game. But if you're running for 80, 90 yards a game amongst different running backs, that's a win because you're keeping defenses honest. But the fact they keep pounding Zeke and our offensive line is not the greatest, it's not working. Go to what's working. And I get it. I'm not an NFL coach, but I coach enough football. To me, sometimes it's just common sense. And sometimes these guys are way too smart for their own good. And, the other team that's really in flux too is in players. Cam Newton and New England Patriots. So Cam is moving out. He's going to test the water somewhere. I feel bad for Cam because I think he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. If he does, the only way I feel like he plays is if he goes to somewhere like Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger is probably on the way out. I don't know if he wants to do a whole nother season like this. What's the knock on New England right now? Really, they have no offensive talent, no weapons, especially for the quarterbacks to throw to. Pittsburgh, last time I checked, they got some decent dudes out there. Chase Claypool kind of came on a little bit. Juju Smith, when he's not doing TikToks and Corvette, he's pretty decent. James Washington is pretty nice. Deontay Johnson, he's got a fits. He drops a lot of passes. So other than that, they get that run game going there because James Conner is not the guy. You got to find somebody else. Maybe you draft a Najee Harris. But you put Cam in that type of offense and that system and that coach with Mike Tomlin, I think that's a match made in heaven. Because from what we all know, for those of you who are old enough to know, Pittsburgh Steelers, what they do best is run the football. And what does Cam like to do? Think about it. I'll let you guys think about that. Likes to run the football, right? So I think if he wants to start somewhere, that's assuming Ben retires. Because who do the Pittsburgh Steelers really have behind Ben Roethlisberger? No one. So they'll go from Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Famer, to Mason Rudolph. At least if you bring Cam Newton in, you still go out and draft a quarterback because obviously Cam Newton is not the end result, but he kind of bridges you. That way you don't completely all the way suck, right? So Cam, you probably never see this, but if you do, man, go to Pittsburgh, go with Mike Tomlin, and you'll win some games. And people will love you there. I think everyone would embrace him going there because he wants to be the guy. And I get that. He's a competitor. He's an athlete. He's a quarterback. He's a former Heisman winner. He's a former NFL MVP. So he's a competitor. He wants to be the starter. But, bro, it's not working. It's not working. You need to be surrounded by better talent. So, and New England's got a choice to make. Now, New England's going to be in the market for quarterbacks. Their Could they go after Carson Wentz? Because he wants out, right? And that's another team, Philly too. But back to New England, does New England, I forgot where they're picking, but they haven't really been really good at drafting. They kind of fell into Tom Brady. Let's just be honest. They picked him, 7th round, and they got what they got. They're one of the luckiest teams in sports history. So what does New England do? They got to go out and get a quarterback. Do they make a trade? Do they do via free agency? Who's out there? Now, Matthew Stafford will be out there. Maybe Matt Ryan. Who knows? But I think it revolves around their talent, So I don't know about that. Philly is also in a conundrum. You saw what happened last night with them, towards the end of the season. The relationship between Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz is definitely fractured. What's going to happen with that? He wants a trade. If he can't be the starter, does he go? Does Indianapolis want to make a trade for him? Depending on what Phillip Rivers does. Honestly, if I'm the Indianapolis Colts, if Phillip Rivers doesn't retire, I'd be like, bro, we kind of have to move off from you though. Like, it's great. We made the playoffs. We won some games, but you're old and we got to move off. We got to go younger. Maybe him and Frank Reich can rekindle that relationship that they had in Philadelphia, and maybe they keep it going. So Philadelphia Eagles definitely have a lot of questions too. And honestly, let's talk about the Eagles too. They have to kind of do something with their strength and conditioning. Their guys are always hurt. Like, it seems like the last 4 or 5 years, you turn on the sports center, it's like, oh, Eagles is hurt. And especially their wide receivers. Their offensive line is always in tatters. None of the receivers always play together. So those are just some teams, I think, that have some major concerns. I mean, Minnesota too. What are they going to do at head coach? Do they stay with Kirk Cousins? Justin Jefferson is a star, but what do you do with them? What do you do? Speaking of stars, moving on. Who's the NFL MVP, man? For me, I'm not going to go with the quarterback. I think Derrick Henry is the MVP. Now, a lot of people are going to say Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind, and he has. I will not deny that. I think Aaron Rodgers is having an MVP type caliber of year. But come on, man. Derrick Henry becomes the 8th running back in NFL history to rush for 2,000 yards and over 17 touchdowns. If he's not the NFL MVP, man, like quarterbacks throw for a bunch of yards every year because that's the league that we watch. It's not very often you see running backs rush for 2,000 yards. Patrick Mahomes, he fell out the race for me a few weeks ago. Russell Wilson, he fell out the race for me a while ago too. Now, Jared Allen, if the season continued to go on, he probably could have made another case. So I'm really right now, my top 3 is Derrick Henry, Aaron Rodgers, and Josh Allen. So what do you guys think about that one? It's pretty simple for me. Like, when you have a season like Derrick Henry running the ball like that, and you become you enter this elite group that a lot of people have not entered. I mean, 8 guys in all of the existence of the NFL have only rushed for 2,000 yards. And this guy doesn't even get talked about at least once by anyone as an MVP candidate. It's like, what? Like, that's crazy to me, man. And maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like that's just wild that this guy does not even get talked about. It's like when I watch my team run the football, it's like why? Like, what? And then you see this guy. He's just easily just running for 250 yards a pop, man. Like, that's crazy. And no one talks about this dude, man. He's arguably the best back in football now. Like, there's no question. People still had Zeke. People still had Christian McCaffrey. But Zeke is not even the same dude. CMC can't even stay healthy. Alvin Kamara is nice, but he's not Derrick Henry. Oh, Kamara ran for 6 touchdowns against the Vikings on Christmas. That's cool, but let's be real. The Vikings were missing 3 of their linebackers. They're 3 starting linebackers that game. Now, he's still got to run the football. I'm not taking credit away from him, but I bet you Anthony Barr and Hendricks were playing that game. He's not running. He's not getting 6 touchdowns like that. Derrick Henry is a beast, man. He is a beast. So if I had a vote, I don't have a vote. I don't really matter. I'm just this guy on Facebook, YouTube that has comments, but it is what it is. But hey, if you're new, man, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys leave a like and a comment, man. Make sure you share this too. If you're watching right now, if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you hit that share button, man. Get this information out to people, man. And if not, come in here. He says, don't disrespect Alvin Kamara had 800 yards. I mean, I'm not saying Alvin Kamara is not a good play. He is. But he ain't rushing for 2,000 yards. And I get it's a different offense, but come on, like 8 run. The NFL has been around for over 100 years. How many? I mean, I'm not no mathematician, but I can't count how many running backs have played in the National Football League. Like having 800 yards receiving and rushing, that's good. But people have kind of done something like that before. Only 8 people, 7 other people, including or excluding Derrick Henry, have rushed for 2,000 yards, bro. That's a lot of yards. Only 8 people. So just let that sink in a little bit. I like Alvin Kamara. I think he's a great player. I think he's great player. Tremendous strength and balance, but okay, if he probably could be like 4th or 5th for the NFL voting, but I really feel like Derek Smith definitely is the dude, man. Derrick Henry. Why did I say Derek Smith? I'm thinking about somebody else. He's a linebacker for the Chiefs. But anyway, all right. Moving off the NFL, we're going to hit over the NBA. NBA, man. So NBA started few weeks ago, almost 2 weeks now, I believe. A lot of headlines. It seems like the James Harden forcing a trade has kind of died down a little bit. I believe Houston is 3-3 right now. They won a few games here the last couple weeks, couple days here. Russell Westbrook and kind of got off to a bad start. I think they've won 2 games by now, but they were 0-5, 0-6. And my take on that is that, man, we know what Russell Westbrook is, bro. We know what he is. He's a triple-double machine, and that's it. You're never going to win any serious hardware. That's why KD left. KD said, you know what, man, we tried. It's just not going to work. Let me go somewhere. I need to win a ring. And, credit to Westbrook, man. He plays hard. He does what he has to do. You can't say the dude is a quitter. He doesn't work hard. He does. But he's probably never going to win a championship because he doesn't work well with others. Now we're going to see his relationship now with Bradley Beal, who's still there as of now, unless Washington decides to move on him at some point. But I think he signed an extension in the offseason. So, it's still early season. Like a lot of people, if you follow Instagram and this and that, they're already putting out like, oh, this is the playoff team. And it's like, settle down. It's way too early, man. I mean, it's way too early. The Orlando Magic are like the best team in the East right now, record-wise. Like, think about that. It's way too early to be putting out. I've never been like a real big polls guy. I don't do that because I feel like a lot still has to happen before we can kind of get more information. Because that's why I like to gather information. And right now, there's not enough information to tell me if the Orlando Magic are going to be a good team or not. There isn't. And if you think the Orlando Magic are going to win the NBA title, I mean, no offense, but you probably need to go check your company's healthcare benefits to see if they cover some type of psychiatric help, because really it's still too early. But there's some things that we can talk about, like the Hardens, the Westbrook, the Lakers. Lakers look pretty solid. They lost to the Clippers, but they bounced back. They won a few games now. But Phoenix Suns, surprisingly, I'm not surprised. I thought the Phoenix Suns would be doing really well at this point. Chris Paul kind of helping out Devin Booker, taking the load off of him, making sure that he's distributing the ball to these young guys. Phoenix Suns look like a very contending team, not contending for a championship, but to kind of be in the middle of the pack during the NBA. What's another team out there? We got the Dallas is kind of starting slow. I think Luka is not in shape yet, but I think they're going to get going. It's still early. It's a grind, man. Like, it's not like football or like college football where you only got 17 games. These guys got 72 games to get it right. They do. Miami's doesn't even look good. Miami was just in the championship. So, it is what it is. I mean, KD, Kyrie, they've lost like 3 games already. People automatically thought, KD and Kyrie, championship. They could. But what we've known from history is that it takes time for teams to gel. Like, we look on paper like that Miami Heat team that won that with LeBron, D Wade, and Chris Bosh. Yeah, they made the finals the first year. But if you remember the beginning of that season, man, it was pretty hard for that team. They lost some games and people were like, oh, wait, how are you guys losing? You guys got 3 All-Stars on you, like legit 3 All-Stars. It takes time for these things to gel. So I'm not going to get out here and just spew just random stuff like poll questions about, will the Orlando Magic win the champ? Like, that's stupid. It's stupid. Giannis is going to get going. They've lost some games. Steph Curry, I will give credit to him. I mean, he dropped 62 on Portland the other night. he has to. But he has to. That's no secret. He has to drop 62 a night almost because that team has no other type of talent on that team that's worthy of really, really winning a lot of games in the NBA. I like Kelly Oubre. I like Wiggins, but he doesn't have Klay Thompson. So early NBA headlines, those are that. I mean, you got KD, Kyrie, somewhat. Boston, it is what it is. Philly looking good. I mean, I feel like they're still a trade away. Maybe they go make a trade for Harden. What do you guys think about that? Because really, if you really think about it now, and I said this before, if I'm the general manager or the brain trust for the Houston Rockets, you got to go. And this situation. Oh, the Pelicans. Yes, the Pelicans. I forgot about the Pelicans. Sorry, Steven. Yes. Zion is looking like Zion. Still a young team. This is the thing with young teams. They may have all the talent in the world, but they don't know how to win yet. They don't. And I feel like BI is BI is Brandon Ingram. He's a really good player, but he doesn't know how to win yet. And same thing with Zion yet, too. So it's still early in the season. Will they make the playoffs? I don't know, man, because I watch them and I think they have really good personnel. Don't get me wrong. I like the Pelicans. They're exciting. I thought the trade with AD and the Lakers with Pelicans, I thought both sides won. Because if you look at it, right, the Pelicans weren't the Lakers. The Lakers had LeBron. So automatically, when LeBron's on your team, what's your first mindset? Championship, right? You got to win a championship. You got LeBron. So you got to do what you got to do to win a championship. Who can we get? Well, AD wants out. Where does he want to go? To the Lakers. Okay, boom. Right? And in return, the Lakers sent all this great talent over in Lonzo, Josh Hart, B.I. I think that trade worked out for them. They got Zion Williamson in the draft. But the Pelicans are not quite ready yet. Maybe they get some more games under their belt because this is kind of like Zion's really first full year because they had him like on time restrictions and whatnot. From what I understand, they don't really have that for him anymore. So he's playing. So the future is bright for New Orleans and for the Pelicans. I will say that. Now they're in the West. So are they in the West? New Orleans is in the West, if I'm not mistaken, right? So if they are, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because there's a lot of teams in the West that are really good, but it's still a lot of things that haven't really maturated yet to really kind of go out and just say, all right, this is what's, because I'm not really big on like hot takes like that. I just don't say random stuff just to be saying random stuff. Now, a lot of people do, and that works for them and that sells for them. But for me, I don't want to kind of like, I don't do that. That's not part of my personality. Some guys just like to say stuff. But me, I'm not of that train of thought. So let me know what you guys think. Early NBA headlines, man. Obviously it is what it is. The Lakers are one of the best teams, if not the best team, right? But we still have a lot to learn from them. They got a new roster. Philly looks good, obviously, but can they go the distance with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid as their stars? Probably not. Boston, Jason Tatum is turning into a baller. He's the dude there. He's the dude. KD and Brooklyn, KD is good enough. He'll get that team ready to go. So, but there's a lot still to be said about the NBA situation. And we'll just have to wait and see on that. All right. Last segment before I get out of here. Baseball. Yes. Baseball is right around the corner here with spring and then with the next season. My Dodgers won the World Series, which thank God they finally won one. But a team that I followed because I used to live in San Diego area way back when I was in the service, and I used to go a lot of the games. I'm very familiar with the San Diego Padres. Dude, they made some moves, man. They got Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, in their pitching bullpen. And not to mention their bats. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis. I mean, I know a lot of you probably just checked out now, but it's like, dude, the Padres are really trying to make a run at this. I think they're third. The odds have them third to win the World Series behind the Dodgers, Yankees, maybe fourth. But still, for those of you who are from San Diego, you thought, well, the Padres, really? We have a team still? Yeah, you got a team, and they're actually really doing really well. Now, they got swept by the Dodgers in the first round of the playoffs this past season, but they're still a young team. Manny Machado is, I think, 24, 25, if that. Fernando Tatis is like 20, 21. Yu Darvish has been around. He started with the Rangers. We had him in LA as a Dodger. That's another story. He went to Chicago, did his thing there. Now he's there. And like, is he like a really ace? But no, but he was once. He's still a really good pitcher. And baseball is going to be exciting for me this year just because the NL West is going to be really legit. It's going to be really legit. So Be on the lookout for the San Diego Padres. I mean, some other teams, obviously Tampa Bay will be in the running again. Now, they will miss Blake Snell, obviously, because he's a really good pitcher and they miss him in that rotation. Cleveland should come on. A team that I really, really want to see kind of do good again, man, is the Mariners. They haven't really been good since they left the Kingdome. The Kingdome is where they used to play, for all you people who don't know where the Kingdome is at. It's an old indoor stadium that they used to have with Ken Griffey. But other than that, I mean, the San Diego Padres are definitely making some moves. And I think baseball, here's the problem with baseball. And unlike other sports, I would say, they don't do a good job of promoting their best stars. There are a lot of really, really talented individuals with great personalities that play baseball, but you never really know about them because they don't really get any advertisement. And it's crazy because you see their faces probably more than you see a football player's face behind the face mask and a helmet. And baseball at one point in one time was this country's greatest sport of all. Obviously that's surpassed because of rules and just how the game is viewed and, the rules and all that other stuff. But if you're a newcomer to baseball and you just want to watch a really upstart young team, San Diego Padres is definitely that team because they're young and they don't give a what. And they're basically pushing all their chips in the middle. And they're like, you know what? We're going all in. We got to beat the Dodgers because they're the class of Major League Baseball. It is what it is. So I commend them, man. Will it be enough? I don't think so. I think the Dodgers are still the champs and will continue to be the reigning champs in the NL West. But other than that, man, my time is up, man. 47 minutes. It comes by quickly. I appreciate everyone that's been in the comment section here today, man. Happy New Year. 2021 is here. I'll be back on the airwaves again Wednesday with another live show. Please continue to support my page. Subscribe to me on YouTube, Clutch Sports Talk. Also hit up the All Pro Digital YouTube and Instagram page at All Pro Digital on YouTube and Instagram. Other than that, man, that's my time. Like I always say, this is Clutch Sports Talk live with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Happy New Year, guys. Peace. This episode of Clutch Sports Talk Live with Ryan Flowers was presented by All Pro Digital, the future in sports media content. Let's go.